We're 8 games into the schedule, which is 23% of the way into the season, but we round up here at 110 Football. So it's time to give out some first quarter grades to LAFC. We've broken it down into 4 categories: coach, goalkeeper, defense, midfield, and attack. They're number 1 on the score sheet and number 1 in our hearts, so some would say. So why don't we start with the goalies and the combined category of goalkeepers and defense? Gentlemen, are you ready?
Of course.
Of course. So goalkeeper and defense, I gave it a B-, and I said it this way because I'm basing it off of last season. Last season, let's face it, we had 2 goalkeepers. We were looking for 1. Defense was hemorrhaging goals in a lot of situations. So I think it's a step in the right direction. If you grade it a little differently, maybe don't give them that grade.
But still B- if we've
That's a little
figured it out.
Why should... Look, listen, you've got to be very tough with these guys because remember what Bob says, everyone helps out defensively, and they're still giving up goals they shouldn't, so yes, B-. I
don't know, you laid out the criteria that you were grading on. I thought you were going to give a higher grade.
No. I've got to kind of rule with an iron fist here a little bit because of the state of the club and the collective that the whole team does, offense to defense. What about you guys?
Jerry, why are you so hard on the defense and goalies? Because Max and
C-.
I think Max and I have a good spot here.
I
With
took
a B-.
it.
Oh, plus Pablo's done good. Done
Exactly.
well.
I mean, yeah, just go back to the glory days, man. Right?
The glory
Like
days.
you were saying, we had
When were the glory days?
Listen. Well, we had the whole situation with the goalkeepers, Vermeer, Pablo Cisniega. Now, that's all gone. Now we're trying to figure out what's up with the attack. But I want to look at the defense. The defense is very sloppy and just everything doesn't seem like the way that we were a couple years ago when we had the goal differential so high.
Yeah,
Now,
If
I
we
gave-
had
I
the
gave it-
goals,
Yeah,
if
but
we
goal
scored the
differential.
goals.
Yeah, goal differential it has to
I
do
know.
with scoring.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
it
wait-
goes both ways.
You're saying sloppy, but I'm going to throw this at you.
Go ahead.
We've given up the fewest shots and shots on target in the league.
And-
Not just in the conference, in the league. So if we're talking about defense, it doesn't seem so sloppy to me.
Well, when I looked at the highlight reel and whatnot, there was a lot of softness when I saw, especially against Houston. We can't hold the leads.
That's fair. You gave me grief for B-, but you gave it a B- also.
Well, because I think it's a B-, because a little bit to your
Oh,
point.
thanks for clearing the air on that. I think it's a B.
Well, no, because they've been good. Because I just gave you that stat about the fewest shots given up. I mean, that's really at the end of the day, that's the best way to judge your defense is the shots that you give up. It makes it actually tougher on Pablo, which is why I kind of give it B-. You've given up so few shots, yet we are chipping a little bit too many goals. Actually, you know a weird number? LAFC gives up a goal about every 2 shots on target. That's very bad.
What about Jerry's point about untimely goals that they let in? When
Untimely goals, they attack from front to back. They defend from front to back. I think that's everybody. I mean, look, the one mistake was Mark's mistake, and then maybe you could have all shifted over and made the one in the NYCFC game. I think the mistakes are more an amalgamation of the entire team. So I think the defense has been pretty good, but I do, again, have to put in a little bit about the mistakes because I think everyone gets dinged down a little bit for that.
So we should just have 1 grade for the entire team.
Well, I mean, I think that's called the
Remember, we
standards.
round here at 110 Football, so we could just round everything up.
We round up. Is that really a rule? We round things up at 110 Football.
Not me and Max anymore.
I will say,
we
Jerry,
are full on homers, and we got to.
I know we got to separate ourselves. I will say this, Jerry. If the defense is improving and doing well, you'd like to see some clean sheets. Maybe it's a bit cliche, but you'd like the teams to do some clean sheets, and they haven't gotten them when they've had a chance.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give them that. I'll give you guys both that.
I'm not dropping it to a C-. Midfield, here we go. We're all close. Good that Vince and I have a different number there. C+.
Which I do like this, C+.
Thank you again.
There you go.
The midfield that's been a steady situation from the last years. Personnel-wise, Sifu's kind of entered the fray, but it's tried and tested. Latif, Edouard, Mark Anthony K. Have they been better than they were in years past? No. But still a steady group, consistent. You can put them out there. I know that C to me is closer to a D in their estimations. They don't want a C. They don't want to be called a C. This is a B+ midfield normally.
Yeah, I broke it down in this way. I think they've all been good kind of individually, but never all at the same time. So that's why I kind of started them off as like a C grade. The plus is that I do think in certain instances, Edward at West has been really good. Mark Anthony K has been really good. Sifu, as you said in the last match, probably his best game.
Bob said it after the game. It was his best game.
What I'm missing a little bit is they're not totally taking over games. Defensively they are, but offensively.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
Shot creation, goal creation. I mean, maybe we need a little more goals from midfield. I mean, if your attack's not filling in the gaps,
Yeah.
we've got talented guys that can score some goals.
Well, I think there should be more creativity in the way you're saying it, and just the midfield needs to take more risk. That's the way I see it. I think, like you were saying, it's very complacent. I think we're okay. We're not bad. We're not great. But I think there's a lot to improve on. I think
When you
And
say
they have a
about
much higher
risk,
standard.
Go tell me about risk. Like in what ways? Like going
I think
forward or taking
go
chances
forward and actually, the way us fans and as a fan correspondent, the way we see is that in Bob's system, there's a lot of building up, trying to get into 18-yard box and just try to slot it down with Corey Bears out back post. No, let's just take some shots from the top of the 18.
I like
let's
that.
get a
From
rebound
that long
off of
range.
that.
And they tried some against the
They
Dynamo.
tried some, and I
think
liked it.
Houston
a lot.
Different guys
saw-
tried it.
And we also
There was
saw,
plenty. There was 25 shots. 5 of those were on target, but how many of those?
25 shots?
25 shots. Oh, sorry,
No,
15.
15.
Excuse me,
15.
15.
Thank
They,
goodness.
they,
Yeah,
they, take,
I don't know
That
how
won't
round
sit
it-
well. 25 shots, 1 goal.
Yeah.
they did take more shots, but I think the bigger point is when you say more risk, I think they were a little more direct, right? We saw a lot more transition
Little by
opportunities,
little.
especially in the first half. There was a lot of 4v4s, 3v4, where they weren't deciding, hey, passes. It's like one pass, we broke their first line of pressure, and we're going to go. I think I'd like to see more of that too. I
Yeah.
want to see them play a little bit quicker because 2019, man, that team was a killer in transition.
We didn't
Offensive
care
transition, they
about
were a killer.
anything. We're just trying to go up after everything. And I think the Vegas partnership is helping out a lot. You see Bryce Duke, he's killing it in Vegas, and he shows up in this Houston game. He had a few shots. He took a little bit of risk as well.
Yeah.
Get a few shots on
maybe.
target. So I think
Why
that'll help
aren't
out
they
just
playing
little
like
by
they
little.
did?
Maybe a little
What-
bit too much risk.
What's wrong? Is there something in the front, the back? Is there something in the build-up that they're not playing as well as we saw them in 2019? Because it is the same trio, by and large.
Yeah.
Plus Sifu, which is an upgrade.
I do think it's a little bit the shift. It's been shifted down a little bit where Bob's been telling them get more passes. Let's try to get more control. Let's see if we can control the game through our passes. Whereas in 2019, it was pedal to the metal. You see an opening, just go for it. We'll figure out the rest on the other side. Now, to your point, that might have been the glory days. It's only 2 years ago. How old were you then?
Yeah.
Don't
been a
worry
while.
about it.
Yeah.
Max and I were much younger then.
Yeah.
The glory-
I'm probably your age combined, Vince. I appreciate you doing that, but let's.
Mind you, the glory days. Remember 2019? What the big thing with this
We've been
LAFC
dropping
team was
the expression "glory days" a lot.
Yeah.
Is that for Bob and Bruce Springsteen? Because this is a Bruce Springsteen free
There you
zone.
go, Bob.
There it
All
is.
right?
Springsteen.
All right.
But no, glory days. So remember in that time of the supposed glory days, as I keep saying, we looked at that team and the biggest criticism was, can they hold leads? I know that's still a thing that we kind of have, but
Yeah.
as much as they had pedal to the metal, was that detrimental to them holding leads? That could have been what Bob is thinking of when he's constituting this kind of pragmatic approach.
Oh, okay. It'd be. I don't know what you changed it so much. This is a team. It's a collective situation. They all kind of grow in together, but the midfield is the most important part of the field. And I said it's a
Yeah.
B plus team. This is really an A midfield. Could be the best midfield year in, year out in Major League Soccer. And that's not just us saying it.
Yeah, it's about expectations. That's
Yes.
why we have such low grades for them. Because I honestly, any team in the league right now would say, I'll pluck those three and drop them right into my system.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring back Benny Failhaber? I don't know. Just
Who's that?
everyone 10 football. I like to put the pedal to the metal, but my car won't start for some reason. But anyway, let's move to the attack.
Good callback there.
Well, let's go to the attack. Vince, Jerry.
Wow.
God, I feel like
No, I think you have to explain
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
Mr. Nice
I
Guy
think,
over
I think
here.
I was good over here. On my
I don't
end.
know.
Go ahead, Max.
Just
Explain
a C
yourself.
minus?
Yeah, because they've been on their best behavior. You know,
Oh, so they haven't been tardy.
they haven't been tardy. They've shown up with a good spirit. There's been injuries, so I can't really
Okay.
include that.
I was about to say, if you have a saving grace, it's in the fact that, yes, Carlos hasn't been here the whole time. Diego hasn't been here the whole time. Bob's had to do the best of with what he had, so I'll give you that. But man,
By the way, when I was in like middle school, I got like a D. They give you the grade for the class, and then a second grade for your tardiness, and I got like a A minus, which means I tried hard
Yeah.
and I was there every day, but I still got a D.
A for effort.
I feel like that's still the way you're going.
Should be one grade.
That was all downhill for you from there.
Jerry, why? I mean, Vince came in hard, but you came in with a D minus. You basically failed this attack.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
No.
what is stopping you from giving them a full F?
Well, the fact that Corey Beard, I actually really like him. He's the only one who's been showing up. When you look at the 2 DPs that we have, out of the 3 that we're missing, he's the guy on the street that we just picked up, and he's been killing it. Even though he does have the equal amount of goals as Rossi, this guy has been creating space off ball. I just really love his off ball play overall. But yeah, man, if I come home with this kind of grade to my dad, Oh,
You're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. I'm banned from coming to the
But
studio.
that's why
to
I
shoot
say
you
I don't
guys.
think that, I mean, this team is as disappointing as they have been. I'm not going there. This is a failure. I mean, this is a big hole they have to dig out of. I agree with you. It's probably a D. Scoring that few goals for a team that's capable of it, having the top 2 goal scorers from the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a huge drop off. And I guess in hindsight, the way I judged goalkeeping and defense, I probably should have been a little more harsh here.
Well, shots are down. Shots were down. Actually, they've actually gotten a little bit better. Shots are starting to creep back up.
A little bit.
Bigger chances are starting to creep back up. So at this point, why I kept them at a D was because they're not finishing those chances. I mean, LAFC is well behind what their XG should be. And for those that, as I've dropped this stat around, XG is kind of the percentage, the historical percentage of the shot that you created, how historically that has gone in. And they've been creating some bigger chances, not finishing. They're a full 3 goals behind where they should be.
Who takes this data? That's something.
I don't know.
I love it.
You know what?
I know, but who's going? That was a shot from
from
2016.
Oh, there's these guys behind the scenes that are they're literally cataloging all of it.
Nerds.
Computer learning. Nerds.
Let me ask you guys something.
Ogre.
You guys like fantasy football? Any kind of fantasy sports going on?
Oh, don't you start.
A fantasy,
No,
a little
listen
fantasy NFL. That's about
There
it.
you go. Okay, cool. Let's say we're doing an MLS fantasy draft, and you have the top 2 in the first 2 rounds. You get Rossi and Vela, and then maybe later on you
look
get
at that.
Corey Baird.
Smart
If
guy.
you have that on paper, don't you expect yourself to do
You'd be
pretty
really
I would have torn
upset.
it up already because Vela and Rossi have
especially
failed
after
me.
8 weeks. You'll think, this is very under par. And
Yes.
that's why I gave him that D-.
So how do we fix this? Right now, they have to fix it with the guys they have. That trio has to get this team out of the mire. You have Danny Musovski, who actually went to Vegas the last game instead of staying with LAFC. Mahala's injured. Brian Rodriguez is with Uruguay, not playing, and
Not committed, I don't think, to be honest with you.
but he's going to have
He's not
to be.
here. to
He's
be
not
fair.
here.
I know.
Yeah, let him
Yeah,
defend
but, you don't
himself,
even
Jerry.
know.
Yeah, of course.
So, how do you fix it, or is this you just keep going at it with this trio?
What's weird is what I would normally say is you do keep going at it because the familiarity between Rossi, Vela, and Baird, and actually we saw some in preseason. It looked really good. The movements were all there. But now we're getting in the part of the schedule where you got games every 3 days. You can't really do that. You're going to have to move some guys out. Although I think as Carlos is going to need games, he's going to just kind of stay in there. He might get subbed a little early. You'd like to see just a guy step up, but that's not really a solution. That's just kind of wishful thinking and hoping that they continue to create chances and it comes through.
Well, with these DPs, you give them DPs for a reason, They're meant to step up. If there's anyone on the squad, these guys had to have that killer instinct, that mentality. And, if not them, then who?
Cal
else you gonna
Jennings,
Maybe.
Again,
Raheem Edwards,
Again, exactly.
Sifu up top.
Well, to your point, Danny Musovski came through last season in a pinch, and it was a guy that, I mean, no offense, Danny, did not expect you to reach the heights that you did.
Yeah.
So maybe Cal Jennings. I mean, this is a system set up to put you in the places to score goals.
Let's move on to the coach, as we're all again in the same range here, so there's no one to be too critical of. I gave a Bob a C+, as did Vince. Jerry a C-. Bob is, as a coach, as prepared as he's always been.
Yeah.
It's the same situation that you're doing it. They've had some bad cards dealt their way. Not an astronomically bad deck,
No.
but enough to obviously get off to a slow start. He's going to be hugely disappointed. You get a C+, and maybe even a C is more accurate in many ways. So I think Jerry went C-.
C-.
Because
I'm
with
on
all of
negative
that
guy.
work, you've got to get
Pessimistic.
results.
Well, I think you and I probably looked at it and saw the injuries, right? Is that where your plus came from? Having to deal with
Yeah,
that?
I just with it, just the fact that it's different all the time, and they're kind of stuck in getting new additions. The LAFC and I think the fan base are accustomed. Hey, let's fix it. Let's get Dio from here.
Right
let's
away,
get a big name player to come in and help the situation. They haven't been able to do it. They've had to be very creative and resourceful.
Let's go back to that. How often have they gotten a big name player to just drop in?
Not many now, I think.
Yeah, so why is everybody
have
thinking
no
that this is
idea.
I'm
just the way
forgetting
to
one
do it?
though. I'm
It's the
forgetting one.
FIFA career mode
Dio
player,
was
that's
not
what
a
it
big
is.
name player. He came in on a big contract. That's just because he was in the EPL.
But an experienced attacking player.
And they still might.
in that situation. Right, hasn't happened yet. So obviously it's screaming for that.
Right.
It would-
Well, I think you got to start with a C just because the expectations are so high. This is a supporter shield quality lineup. So when you're not reaching those heights, you kind of got to knock Bob down a notch. But the reason why I don't go lower is because the football ideas, the game model is still there. And actually, again, they're in the places to score these goals. And at a certain point, Bob can only do so much. He doesn't have controller.
Right.
It's not
Well, how
FIFA.
about this?
No, yeah, I agree. And it takes me to the point where, as a manager, Bob Bradley is putting everything that he can to get the best result for LAFC. Yes, there might be some kind of questionable substitutions and adjustments. But the players are the ones on the field who have to take initiative. They're the ones who are putting out they're the ones who have to finish those chances when they're made. I mean, 15 shots, only 5 on target, and only
Wait,
one out of that.
You brought up the subs. This is a big fan topic that I don't quite understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you, everyone seems to get on Bob for a substitution pattern. I would say there's not much depth
that's
to have a real
thing, too.
substitution pattern with.
That's not a category.
Is this really?
It's not a
category.
Bench.
No,
What do you
but
give the bench? What do you give a bench? Quick.
An incomplete.
Another C?
Incomplete.
C
No.
minus.
I'll go
One
same.
last thing for Bob. It's some of the young players. I would like to see a little more development in Cheeky. Sifu's getting there. Pancho, we don't know. But you'd like to
Moon?
Is
see
that
a
on
little
Bob though? Because then you got a guy
No.
like Farfan.
Yeah, I know. But Bob knocked it out of the park with these guys in the
Yeah.
past. So I don't think it's been there, but that's not him, Bob. You have to get the players to do it. So
Right.
great work, guys. Hard to believe we're a quarter of the way through the season already, but we are.
If I had hair, it'd be gray.
I have hair and it's gray.